my guests today on Dateline Abuja are Amida Kende Busari. Thank you for joining us on Dateline Abuja. She's a political analyst and a gender advocate. And Faiza Taye Busari, also a political analyst and a gender advocate. Thank you so much for being part of Dateline Abuja. And again, a house guest, Ismail Ayo Akanji, a security and political analyst. Thank you for joining us today on Dateline Abuja.
Thank you, Ho.
And these are also, you guys are called the popular Buhari twins. You want to share that story a bit with us?
Probably because we work very close with the president before he was elected into the office in 2014. So we've been with him. That is why people call us
the popular Buhari twins.
And we participated fully in election that brought the president in.
Thank you guys so much for being. You guys are quite popular, trying to push women or your involvement in women participation in politics. But what are the factors responsible for low level of participation in politics today? Politics
for women, I can say there are a lot of factors. We can say economic factors, educational factors, social factors. When we talk of economic factor, women are not well-to-do, like no money. When we talk of politics, you have to have a lot of money to purchase form and all that. That is one factor, economic factor. Educational factor. Education. Then, before now, women are denied education because they believe women will go to their husband's house and all that, and that is one of the factors why women did not go to school then. But thanks now, we have doctors, we have lots of women in different professions. And religious factors is very critical also. People from some part of the country are not allowed, because of their religion. They believe women should not be in the front line. And there are lots of factors that contribute to low participation of women in politics.
Okay, you guys have been advocates here for effective political participation in women. How successful has that been?
Well, recently, I think that has been very successful. We see that when we talk of participation of women in politics, we have to put it in the proper perspective. You know that if you say participation, does not mean going into elective position or appointive positions. When you hear participation, people say, women must be at the forefront. But participation should mean partaking in a process that will bring in a very, very good leader into power. So I think women has done that a lot from the grassroots. They've been partaking in electoral process. I think about 51% of women partake in elections. In voting, and which is very, very high for me.
Okay, now you guys say participation. Before we actually talked about this. Women participation in politics, is it because they are going to get rappers? I understand, we talked about this. If the participation you're talking about means that it's not necessarily for elective positions, but it means that the process, women actually participating and involving themselves in campaigning processes. Do you think that women actually go into politics participation for the right reasons and not just to get something?
Yes, I believe so, because if you look at women participation in politics, we have to look back down the line from the pre-colonial era to colonialism and post.
Okay. You want to break that for us, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Women have been an integral part of political administration in the pre-colonial era. For example, we see the Borno, how the women participated in the administration of the state alongside their male counterparts. And we also see the women involvement in the ancient Zaria. We heard of the Tukuru Bakwa, the Queen Bakwa Tukuru, the mother of the Queen Amina, who founded the modern Zaria in the first half of 16th century, and was succeeded by Queen Amina. They were great women, they were warriors. And even when Queen Amina succeeded his mother as a queen, she built a tall wall around Zaria to protect people from coming in, attack external attack, and she also brought in commercials to the states. They have done a lot.
That was then. Do you think we still have that kind of passion now?
Yes, we do. We do. I think we have great women like Late Dora Akuyuli. We have Obi. She has held a position in the World Bank as a deputy World Bank leader. And we have deputy president. And we also have women like the recent finance minister that just left. She has done wonderfully well
for women.
Yes, for women. Yes, and she brought us out of recession. We see Amina, former environment minister. She went to UN and she's doing us proud.
Okay, Ayo, can you tell us what if men actually support women? You know, you talked about something. We have the economic challenges. We have also the cultural. You talked about the religious. Do you think men actually support women and not thinking of women as, you know, relegating us back home as wives?
I mean, men support women. That's why, like you rightly said, we've had some ministers holding very plumb positions in government. You know, but I think like one of my famous political leaders will say, power is not served by the cat. You earn it.
Yeah. You
just don't sit and say because you're a woman or because of the fact that women possess the highest population of voting bloc in the country, then you get what you want. You have to negotiate what you want. Politics is a game of interest. It's a game of number also too. But how can you align your interest with the numbers you have and get the position you want? Once you can do that properly, then I can tell you that will be all. You will get right positions there. But for you, and then the women control the men. They are wives. They hold the men in the house. So we should expect to see. We used to hear them talk about 35% gender affirmation. That was in the last administration. I know the president's wife right now is also advocating for women, but we need to have more.
Okay, talking about women, men supporting women and women supporting women. Would you say women are supporting women?
Yes, I would say women are supporting women. Good example is just the recent pronouncement by the wife of the president. She said she's going to support all female aspirants across party line. And that is good. Irrespective of your religion, your political affiliation, she still came out to say that, no, I'm going to support.
You know, there's one thing about talking and there's another thing about doing. Because the forms will run out soon, the dates, and a lot of women are still struggling to buy. And after the primaries, that's it. So you think it's not women not just talking, you know, women in power, not just talking and gathering people together, say I'm going to support you, and we'll hold on to that word, action.
Yes, she's not just talking, because you can see that from our programs, our Future Assured programs. You can see she has been supporting women and youth, children across all the states. And I don't think she's just talking. She has even been training women along political leadership and governance. Grooming them, going to states to groom women on how to lead and on how to govern. I think she has done well in that. Okay,
now let's talk about why women are not coming out so much. We know that the finance, you know, you talked about finance, but we really need to break it down, because I know that we can't get foreign aids for political. It's against their ideologies to actually bring out funds to support any political group. But what are the challenges, financial challenges women are suffering from, and how can we actually embrace them or support them?
We cannot say women are not coming out. We have quite a number of women that are aspiring to hold elective position, and we have so many of them that have held appointive positions across line. But we could even see that the current Minister of Women Affairs, Al-Hassan, she's aspiring to be a governor, and for the first time in our political history, APC is the only party that has given a woman that opportunity, the platform to contest for governor. So I think it's a plus on that side, and we have other women in states aspiring for other political positions that I've gotten.
Well, she's quite fortunate because she has money. I don't want to contribute something to that. I'm talking about women who cannot finance themselves, who actually are gender advocates, having their small NGOs supporting women, but they don't have the financial backups. One, we know that the forms are quite expensive. Some political parties are actually giving them free, some half of the price, but still women can. You know, I was talking to somebody earlier who said she spent a councillor from a top party who's spending about 400 3 or to 400,000 naira for a form, and just for that. It's not everybody that can afford that. Don't you think that finances is one of the major challenges, and how can we assist in helping that?
Absolutely, it's one of the major challenges. But I think that's like you were saying, the women need to come in together to work and help themselves. Start with, first of all. Politics is a game, and like I keep saying, you have to understand what is it that you're offering. We have a high percentage of women in the country. They're everywhere you find in society, from markets to all parts, all structures of the economy, you find them there. But your finances is a key challenge. So the party itself too has to look out for a way, which some parties have tried by making the form free of charge. Others is half valid. If you can take the price of form off your to-do list, a lot of capital is taken off that for you.
Yeah.
And even your campaign, people don't really expect much from you. Your fellow women don't really expect you to give them wrappers or rice or oil or those basic things. Once they want to see a woman that is bright, that gives them that assurance that she can actually come in, get voted, and then uplift them from where they are. I think it will come in. But you see, I keep saying politics about popularity. Emotions has to be thrown away from the window. What do you want to do? Are you very vocal about it? We've seen a few presidential aspirants. How serious are they? You just don't wake up and say I want to be president, but what is your policy? How are you going to work with your fellow women? And with this, I can tell you they'll get support from their fellow women, and then they'll find themselves in various positions.
Do you want to say something?
Yes, in addition to that, I think recently we see that some people that believe in President Muhammadu Buhari purchased the nomination form for him to recontest the election. I think if women are really serious about this, if they have a nominee, they can also do the same. So we have women in elective positions.
Are you saying that if women want to come out, they can get support and somebody buying their form?
Absolutely.
Last time we talked about, even on the show, when we talked about them purchasing President Buhari form for him, 45 million?
35 million.
And I said, of course, he's a popular person, he's a president, a lot of people would come out to support him. But if I want to come out, how many people will support me? That's what I'm talking about now. It's not about you talked about the popularity, but there are also people with the passion and the capacity to actually run for office, but they don't have finances. Now we're talking about women in politics and finances being a major constraint. I'm asking, how can we assist? Not just by gathering people and talking, because we talked about this earlier on, where people will gather women together and say, we're going to support workshops, seminars, but it's not going a long way.
Yeah, but that's it boils down to what I just said. If you really want a woman in an elective position, you want to support your fellow women, you just need to support them by buying the nomination form for them to contest. Yes, if you believe in my ideology, believe that I have the capacity to push you through. If you believe that no, this woman has that zeal, she has the passion, then I believe women should rally around her to support her.
Yeah, so do you think women are supporting women? We talked about this, but do you think women are actually supporting women? We have a lot of big organizations, women, and because I'm grassroots and I see a lot of women politicians, young female, are struggling. And I'm like, why can't you just, get support from women? They say women don't support us. What? And they say men don't even support us at all because it's just. So why do you think women? We're talking about women now. Why are women not supporting women?
It still boils down to the constraint. Because they still believe on those factors that because of social factors, religious factors and all that. But I believe one day we will get there. I believe that one day Nigeria is going to elect a female president by the special grace of God.
Amen.
Okay, do you have anything to contribute to that?
Yeah, like she rightly said that we are getting there, we are moving. If we look back to the colonial era, women were enfranchised to vote, but later on we moved from that stage. We see now that women are taking active participation, they are fully participating in politics. We don't have that before now, so I think we are moving gradually and we get there. Like we saw in the recent APC election that was held, people rally around the national woman leader, even Her Excellency, and they gave her she gave her her support, and other women did, and she won the election.
Okay. Now, okay, let's talk about a way forward. Yeah. Okay. You talked about educational challenges as well. We have still some people still feel that the girl child should not have the right to education. What do you think? Now let's take it from the grassroots, yeah, because we, like in the metropolitan cities, we can come out and say we are involved in politics on a good level because most of us are exposed. But what about people from the villages? If we say we want women to be involved in politics, let's start from the grassroots level. What do you think? What are you guys are gender advocates. What advice would you give for the girl child to know that she has a right to vote and to be voted for?
Everything still boils down to enlightenment, and I believe that if you go to the grassroots, many of the appointees are doing their best. You can see they've set up the Almajiri schools, and part of what this present administration used to encourage them is still this food. Children, they don't know, all what they know is food, play. But because of this school homegrown program, they feed them. They know that if I go to school, I'm going to get something, I'm going to eat. They know that all these kind of things encourage them. And I believe with all this, if they are going to school, they begin to learn, and one day they will know that they will be leader to take charge of the state. I think we are moving from that stage. If you go to grassroots now, ask any woman in the grassroots, in the local government, you see that they even have PVC than those of us in the cities. So most of them are aware of who to vote and how to vote and who to vote, who to lead them. So I think we have moved from that.
Okay, I want to contribute something to that.
Yeah, I think women are naturally politically savvy. Naturally, they have that in them already. And then as a woman who normally like almost the head of the family, they are used to taking care of the family and leading. So I think if they can have more support, and I like the fact that they are advocates for women inclusion in politics, and I hope we have many as possible. Of them to beam the light. And also, my own is still they should negotiate. You have to negotiate for what you want. So come, and then you give a very good historical perspective of Queen Amina. Queen Amina was a very powerful warrior in Zaire, the Zozo Emirates back then. The effect of what she did then is still standing today. Yeah. We still have powerful women. I think in Africa we've had like 3 or 4 African presidents that are women. Quite low, but at least we need to have more ambassadors to encourage more women to aspire for the highest positions. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. I've been talking to Amida Kehinde Busari, political analyst and gender advocate. Faiza Taye Busari, also a gender advocate and a political analyst, both of them popularly known as the Buhari twins. And Ismail Ayo Akanji, a security and a political analyst. Thank you so much for being part of Dateline Abuja. Okay, and that's the much we can take for today on Dateline Abuja. To watch a repeat broadcast, you can watch our YouTube channel showing right now on your TV screen, and also like our page on Facebook and Instagram. Till I come your way, same time.